I feel like I need more Ultraman shirts if I'm going to be using Emmy mic. I'm trying a new setup, so if the face tracking stuff is annoying, please let me know. It's convention season, which doesn't mean a whole hell of a lot anymore because depending on the industry that you're working in, there's a new convention every month or every other month. I'm recording this in May, and a friend of mine who we will be discussing later in this video has events all the way through December. So his con season is like 9 months out of the year. It's exhausting. It sounds exhausting. He loves it though. He loves traveling around. He loves meeting people. Anyway, now typically when I talk about conventions on this channel, it's usually from the presentation aspect of things. Answering questions like, is my merch easy to see? Have I brought it up to a level which makes it easier for people when they're walking by to kind of glance down and have something catch their eye? Or mindset questions like, am I thinking positive thoughts even if I'm not selling stuff? That sort of thing. But there's one even more basic question that I sometimes fail to ask myself when I'm getting ready for a show. Does my merch sell itself? So last month, I was working a booth at the 35th Annual Celtic Festival of Southern Maryland. And if you've seen my work, I don't really have that many Celtic influences. I was actually there to help out my friend who I talked about earlier with that very busy con schedule, Mack Daddy Woodworks. He was booked at another show in North Carolina that very same weekend, so he asked if I could man the booth. And honestly, I was kind of nervous about it because I'd never worked one of his booths before, and I've never done an outdoor festival before, so I didn't really know what to expect. Like, I've been to outdoor festivals before to walk around and buy stuff, but I've never worked an outdoor festival. And he was like, don't worry about it. I'll set you up. I'll give you the display stuff. You know my products. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. You'll be good. I was like, all right. Mack Daddy Woodworks sells two main products: magic wands made from exotic woods and wooden swords made from hardwoods. So you can whack the shit out of them and they'll still be sword shaped. Now it is here that a more experienced YouTuber would probably insert footage from the show that they were working. Me, I was so nervous and concentrating on getting down to the venue and working that I didn't think to just take out my cell phone and take some photos and stuff. So if I find generic photos off of the Celtic Society of Southern Maryland's website, I'll put them here, or some of the Mack Daddy Woodworks examples here. I'll put them up. But just know, if you ask me to work a show for you, I will work the show for you. And that's what I'm there to do. I'm not there to get my own content. I'm there to work. I brought a friend with me because it's a new venue that I've never been. It's a new type of show that I've never done. It's a new everything. And I like to have backup just in case I need somebody to help me with logistics, or like the car breaks down, or I don't know. It always helps to have a travel buddy when you're going into a new situation. And it was fine. We got down there a little early. The guy who owns the booth had set up one of the stands, so it was easy to figure that out. We set up the wands in their nice display cases. Gorgeous stuff. The exotic woods that he chooses and turns these wands, they're amazing. And then the sword rack, it was very simple, nothing fancy. There was a sign with the prices for the wands, and there was a sign for the prices of the swords, and that's it. Like, we had tablecloths, but there was no branding anywhere. There was no like big Mack Daddy Woodworking banner that I had to unfurl. There was nothing on the tent to let you know what the booth was. Like, I had a couple of business cards, but it was very minimal. And I was like, is this enough? Like, if I was setting up for a Comic-Con, there would be like a banner with my name on it, and then I'd have everything displayed in fancy ways, and like different towers of stuff, and a space for me to draw things so you could see, and all. Like, there's just a lot of fiddly bullshit that goes into my setup, and you know, that's what I'm used to. So I got down there and it was really simple, and I was like, how is this going to work? And it was fine. It was more than fine. Like, besides the downpour at the beginning of the day and drizzle throughout the day, after the first few hours, we had pretty steady foot traffic. Like, we didn't have to carnival bark to get people to come in and notice our tent or anything like that. We didn't have to put balloons up or do a fancy dance or like have a party or anything like that. We just kind of sat there. Like if people came in, we'd say hello, answered a few questions, but by and large, the stuff sold itself. Like when you see a wand, you know what this is. I mean, this is a pencil, but you know what this is. You can use this to cast firebolt, 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 that sort of thing. When you see a sword, you know what a sword is. You can use it to crush your enemies, see them driven before you, and hear the lamentation of the women. There's no customer education needed. You go in, you pick up the thing, you like the weight of the thing. It's a sale, or it's not, and then you move on with your day. The nice thing about Mack Daddy's wands is that they're all done in a different exotic wood. And even though I'm not personally into the wand thing, like I get it. When I hold one, it feels good. Swords, I'm definitely into, so I understand that right off the bat. But even people who aren't necessarily into swords, they walked over and they picked them up and they felt great. And they're like, this is awesome. The weight's nice. I can see why people would want to swing it. And the nice thing about the swords is that Mack Daddy leaves them unfinished so that if you want to customize them yourself, like you could put a leather wrap on the handle, or you can, polish the blade or repaint the blade. You could do whatever you want. Actually, we met a kid from the previous year who bought a sword and spent the entire year customizing it. So he painted it up nicely. He did a nice little wrap on the handle, and it's great. And it was really cool to have products that sold themselves because it meant less work for me. It meant less fiddling with the display stuff or worrying about my mental game of like, am I making the right face, or people walking away because I'm looking down on my phone? I mean, I was looking down on my phone half of the time because I was trying to keep connected to the very bad Wi-Fi. The other thing about bringing a friend is if they're on a different network than you, they could be a hotspot for you so you can actually process transactions. So that's bring a friend, but also bring a friend who's on a different cell network than you are. But yeah, I broke every single rule that I've put down for myself when I work other conventions, and it didn't matter. People were coming in, they were picking up the wands, they were picking up the swords, and it was a relaxing experience. Like I don't usually think about working a convention as a relaxing experience because it's high stress and I gotta be on the ball all the fucking time. But here, when the product sells itself, that's half the job. And that leaves you to be more yourself. Like we could have conversations with people without the stress of having to close a sale at the end of that interaction. Just, talk about it. Some people asked us questions about wood and we answered it to the best of our ability, which is not that much. Like I understand what a lathe does and how you turn it and sanding and all that kind of stuff. But like when it comes to the differences between the varieties of the woods, I'm like, I don't know, hold it, see what it feels like. So now when I go back and I take stock of what I bring to a show, I kind of understand why it's a little bit more difficult for me to sell my stuff, because a lot of my stuff is comics, and indie comics don't necessarily sell themselves. Like you literally cannot judge the books that I sell from the cover because the covers are painted, the interiors look completely different. There's words, there's panels, all that stuff. So it requires people to pick up the book and actually flip through it. And for whatever reason, sometimes people aren't necessarily in the mood to do that at a convention. If they don't see something that they instantly connect with, they're not going to go out of their way. That's why fan art works so well in a convention environment, because it's easy to spot. People can easily see the thing that they like. People like what they like. And if they see something from something that they already know and they already love, they're going to get it. I mean, I love cute kaiju anyway, but of course I'm going to buy an Emmy Sofubi because I love Ultraman. Duh. So comics require a little bit of customer education, or you have to have a big enough name that people are just going to see that you worked on a thing and they're going to buy it. Like I collect artists, I collect writers, people that I like, people that I know. If I see their name on something, I'm instantly going to buy it. Sight unseen, I don't know, who knows what the fuck is going to be in these pages. I'm an instant buy. So if you're not at that point yet in your career, if your name doesn't bring that kind of instant buy behavior, your work has to speak for itself. And books are tough. Books speak, but they need a push. Since the Celtic Festival, I've been thinking about how I want to adjust what I bring with me to shows. I think I'm going to lean into stickers a little bit. Stickers are easy to transport. They're light. They don't take up a lot of space. So if you are going to a lot of different shows, you can bring your inventory with you on the plane or like in a little bag. So it's easier to carry with you. And the setup is dead simple. But if you have a kid and that kid has a water bottle, guaranteed that water bottle is full of stickers that they've picked up from their friends at school. And it's not fancy branded stuff. Sometimes it's just a creature that they like. Axolotls or cats, dogs, things like that. But I'm trying to think more of cool things that I like to draw that I think other people would like regardless of what the story is behind it. I do think storytelling is important, obviously, but sometimes just that initial, hey, that's cool, I want to get it. That kind of reaction, sometimes you have to design for that. Fan art is always a little bit tricky because some brands are more litigious than others. But I do think there are ways to make things that pander to different groups that have that similar appeal. Pets are always a win. There are cat people, there are dog people. If you have some cat illustrations or cat stickers or dog illustrations or dog stickers, you're gonna find somebody at a show who's gonna love that shit. Those are high percentage designs, I feel like. So yeah, those are the lessons I took back with me from the Celtic Festival. And maybe you can take that idea of your work selling itself with you as you develop stuff for your next convention. Look, my new con shirt came just as I was finishing the vlog. Speaking of conventions, I'm really bad at self-promotion. The last weekend of this month, May 31st to June 1st, I'm going to be at Kaiju Brooklyn. Obviously in Brooklyn. I don't have a table, but I'll be there hanging out, checking out the stuff. It sounds like a fun time. Sunday morning, I'm going to be doing a panel with the Ultraman Connection group. We're going to be talking about the card game, and I think there's going to be some fun surprises. So I'll be there the entire weekend. If you see me, say hey. We could talk about Ultraman, Tokusatsu, all sorts of cool stuff. And yeah, I'll see you there. Bye!